Everybody good? All right, you want to start?
Good evening, everybody. Aaron Miller from the City of New Orleans Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. As you know, this afternoon the city experienced an excessive amount of rainfall. Preliminary estimates between 8 and 10 inches or more in specific areas of the city. Localized, we saw as much as 2 inches an hour, which resulted in excessive street flooding and also additional flooding in low-lying areas throughout the city. We remain under flash flood watches and several other advisories. It is not anticipated that there's additional rainfall. That is due to the fact that we still have water standing on roadways, and as this water continues to drain out, we could see some low-lying areas continue to see water ponding. Our police, our fire, and our emergency medical technicians done an excellent job throughout this afternoon responding to over 24 citizen assist calls for individuals who may have been trapped in their vehicles in rising floodwaters. We are fortunate to say that there's no significant injuries as of yet, but we still do have active calls for service. Our firefighters, our paramedics, our police officers are still out there assisting our residents as floodwaters recede. And we'd urge everyone, if they do not have to be on the road, stay off of those flooded roadways, be patient, and be cognizant of everything that's going on around you.
And Aaron, what are the most significant areas with the most significant amounts of water, would you say?
So, the typical low-lying areas around underpasses and train trestles. One of the areas that we still have water is in Lakeview along Canal Boulevard. And we still see water along the Broad Street corridor. In some places it continues to drain to the low-lying areas.
Can we talk a little bit about what's going on with the pumps at all?
Sure. The pumps are all operational. They're on all of our available power.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. All the pumps are operational, and we're doing everything we can to pump the water down and out. But as Aaron indicated, any place that you have 8 to 10 inches of rain, there's no drainage system in the world that can handle that immediately. It's going to take a few hours to get it all back to normal.
Now, we had a resident that said they went by the 17th Street Canal and it was not on, the pumping station was not working.
I don't know what they're responding to. The one at the 17th Street Canal at Orpheum Street, which is at the edge of the Orleans and Jefferson Parish line, was operational and continues to operate.
We have viewers who are really frustrated. They say, this isn't a tropical storm, this isn't a hurricane. Why can't our city pumps handle the rain that we get in New Orleans?
Well, I'm frustrated from the standpoint of I continue to tell the people what this pumping system can do. It's pretty amazing in the sense that it can do 1 inch of rain the first hour and a half of inch of rain every hour after that. We are dealing with 8 to 10 inches of rain in 3 hours. It is not going to be able to pump that in an hour. It's going to take a few hours for that to be done. So the frustration is that we are now in a different era. We're in the era of climate change where we have these kind of rains every week, or every month. And it's not just us, it's the rest of the country that's experiencing the same weather patterns.
So we don't need better pumps?
I don't know what that means. I mean, we have the largest drainage pumps anywhere. To double them would be billions of dollars, and we certainly can entertain looking at that. But what I'm saying to you is that we have a fairly significant system, one of the most significant in the world. But we're in a situation where we now receive more rain than anybody could have imagined on a recurring basis. So this system is doing everything it can to address that.
And I think it's more frustrating too because just a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday we had a similar situation and some of the same areas are flooding again. How does this compare to just a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Grant?
Well, again, that same station. I'm glad you asked that question. We recorded about 4 inches of rain in that general area of Broad last 2 weeks ago. There was 8 today, double what that was. So again, we're operating at full capacity. We're doing everything we can, but there's nothing that takes 8 inches of rain out of the system in an hour. It takes several hours to do that.
Chief, we got calls from people near Canal Boulevard by that train trestle that were concerned that NOPD and even NOFD might not be able to get to them with all the construction with the new streetcar complex coming and all the rainwater. Can you speak on that?
We've responded to a number of calls with police, with fire, with EMS. Part of the situation is not necessarily that construction. With this amount of flooding, even the cars we drive are not even capable of driving through that amount of water. So we began to use some of our high water vehicles. We used one in the 3rd district. We delivered 2 more to other districts that experienced a lot of flooding. I personally was driving around the city for several hours, was not able to get through a lot of it with the vehicle I was in, and traffic was really at a standstill. And so we're getting complaints of people driving really fast through water on side streets in the neighborhoods, which pushes water into people's homes, causing more damage than was necessary, and sometimes damage that wasn't necessary. We admonish people not to do that. And to the extent that we can catch people doing that, we're going to take swift and strong action against them when we catch them doing that. Part of the response is we haven't been able to get to some of the areas in our police cars, and so we had to resort to using high water vehicles. But then it took a while for us to find them, get them, operationalize them, and get them to those affected areas. We're still working with police, with EMS and fire throughout the evening to get to all of those rescue calls, but we need citizens to prioritize the concerns. Call us for the rescue calls and not for the unnecessary calls, so that we can make sure we're available to get to those who really need us right now.
How many rescues did you guys have to make so far today?
I think between police, fire, and EMS, it's 24 or so, maybe slightly over. But it's taking high water vehicles to get to them. And then there's traffic concerns because so many people are stranded in water, driving through underpasses, low-lying areas. We admonish people not to drive if they don't have to. While it has stopped raining, it continues to be a lot of flooding on many of the main streets as well as the side streets where people actually live. And if you are driving, please keep it at a snail's pace, because any faster than that pushes water into homes, into businesses, which causes damage. And so if people didn't have damage, you may very well be causing it now by doing that.
And it's dark outside now, and it's hard to see. What do you suggest and what do you warn people of tonight?
It is impossible to see how deep that water is in daylight. It is really impossible to know how deep that water is at night. Please don't drive, but please be patient if you're already out there. It's taking a long time for traffic to move throughout the city. Be patient, be courteous, and whatever you do, don't park your cars in the middle of the street and abandon them, because nobody else can move and drive through to get to where they're going. And we can't rescue people when citizens just leave their cars in the middle of the street. You can put them on high ground, but please do not just block the entire street, because we can't rescue people when you do that.
Parts of the city still flooded, some parts going down. When can people expect for their homes or businesses for the water to go down there?
Well, based on if the weather holds and we don't see very much rain for the rest of the evening, but late tonight it should be gone.
You do understand people's concerns with the flooding, the frustration from people because of the flooding.
Well, I understand it. I'm a citizen. Okay, I live with it every day. But I guess what I'm trying to help people understand is the capacities in which the system operates and how it operates. No one has a system in the world that could have addressed today's problem. No one.
Should people in New Orleans just expect to have to deal with this year in and year out? It seems like it's getting worse and worse. Well,
again, as I have said time and time again, and I hope people begin to listen to me, what we're seeing are increasing weather patterns of this type. This is climate change, folks. It's coming every week. It's coming across the country. These constant weather patterns, they're extreme. They require us to all be vigilant and deal with them. As we dealt with this at 11 o'clock this morning, everything was dry. Okay, 3 hours of intense rain can change the whole focus of everything. So we all need to be aware that we're living in, there's a new normal. That we're really kind of going to have to get to the point where we have to expect and understand that if these weather patterns continue, there's very few communities that are, quite honestly, as prepared as New Orleans to deal with them. And if you look in the Midwest, you look in the Southwest, they're having much more of a problem with this on a daily basis than we are. But today was a bad day. Today's, by the way, this qualifies as a 10-year storm. We've had 3 this year.
So can the city of New Orleans do anything about it?
Well, we are doing everything we can to do about it, but the truth of the matter is, to build another inch of drainage capacity is billions of dollars and years. This system has been in place for almost 100 years. Okay, it might take 30 or 40 years to build another inch of drainage capacity if indeed we want to finance it and fund it. But the truth of the matter is, I think we have one of the finest drainage works that anybody could anticipate having in a city of this size that's this vulnerable. And truth of the matter is, we operate as well as we can. But I think it's a community conversation if they think there's another answer. But in a city that's 6 feet under sea level, with a drainage capacity that we have, there's only one other place that has this, and it's in the Netherlands.
We have time for one more question.
You said that the pumps, our system is one of the best that there are out there. So are there any other systems that can handle more than an inch of rain the first hour and then a half an inch of rain?
The system in the Netherlands, may operate a little bit higher level, but not by much.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.